and welcome to this week's episode of Golf Links, the latest podcast. Slightly different this week. We have gone a little bit, well, we hope to do more of these. We've got our first guest on the podcast. So, Ben, how are we doing?
All good. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. It's just been me and Craig so far, so this is really nice to have a fresh face on the podcast. So, Ben from England Golf, I'm going to get Ben to introduce himself a little bit more in a second, but really good to have Ben on first because Ben was actually our first guest speaker as well. So in 2025, we obviously started and we had the Carden Park event. I think it was like the second event at Carden Park that we managed to get you down to. So thank you very much for that. But before we start, Ben, do you want to, for the people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about your role at England Golf and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, that's great. So, thanks for having me on, first and foremost. I think it's been a great journey since you've started this up, and we'll obviously talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I currently work for England Golf as the performance manager on the male side of things. So I manage the male squad, the men's squad, the boys squad, and then I travel with the men's teams as well then. So we go to Europeans every year, Worlds every 2 years, home internationals every year. And basically my role is to support the development and making sure that we're picking the right people to represent England and go on and hopefully win some medals on the men's and boys side of things. And then we've got the same on the female side of things as well. So we've got a female manager who does the same for the females. But yeah, that's my role. I've been in the role now a year and a half. And before then, I worked similar sort of thing, but worked for Wales Golf. So yeah, jumped across the border, which doesn't always go down well. But yeah, it was a good step.
So tell us, how did you get into that role? These are the sort of roles I still come across people that have got jobs I didn't know existed. So to have a love, and especially for sports as well. So how did you get yourself into that role?
That's quite an interesting story, actually. I used to be a teacher before working for Wales. Always been a football coach, so always coached football. Always been in, I guess, what I'd call like a people development industry, wherever that is. You know, volunteering youth clubs, teaching, football coaching, whatever it is, always to do with people. And I actually ran the Cardiff Half Marathon, and I came back. My brother had sent me the job out for Wales Golf, and it was the deadline was that day. So I remember sitting on the sofa putting the application together with and etc. as the high performance officer it was back then. So I basically worked under the performance director there for a while. She then moved on, and an opportunity. The guy from England, Gareth Jenkins, he came across to be the performance director of Wales, and then his job came up with England. And when I was with Wales, I did more of the squad stuff, not the team stuff. Then obviously England, it was the full shebang, the squad and the team. So I applied for the job, and obviously fortunate enough to get the job, and yeah, I haven't looked back and been cracking on ever since.
I've got a question. What was your handicap when you started, and what is it now?
That's a great question. It was, what was it? It was down quite low, about 3-ish when I started with England. Now it's up to 5, but that's when I play, 8 times a year if I'm lucky.
Yeah, I was going to say that there
So
must be do you feel any pressure to have that performance? But obviously, we know coaching isn't about, it's not mentoring, is it? Coaching
no,
is coaching. It's like,
yeah,
so does it bug you a little bit that it's going the wrong way?
definitely, definitely. So it's one of those. Like, one thing I always got taught when I started coaching football, was if you can't perform the skill, don't demonstrate. They said because you lose all credibility straight away. That's the first thing they said when I first started football. Um, and I forgot that until recently when we're on the short game area at Woodall Spa with the national men's squad, and they've gone, let's have a chipping comp. Me now off 5 thinking, yeah, I'm half decent. Um, I'm not anymore, put it that way. And you do lose a lot of credibility. But I think it's a lot of the role is managing the people, and it's making sure that the people are looked after, making sure that, you're getting the right teams, but also it's almost the bit that, it's not the golf bit they enjoy. Because they've got their golf coaches, they've got the psychologists, they've got the S&C coaches, they've got all these people they can talk to about golf. But not everyone reaches out and speaks to them about the things in between or reviewing rounds and stuff like that. So I think that's where my role comes in, and that's where I sit. But you've got to be transparent with the players. You've got to show them that you're not always as good as them. And yeah,
Brilliant. So, do you know what? This is just when you're talking now, and we've chatted a little bit before we jumped on the record as well, that you've been in golf links pretty much from the start. And
yeah,
it's great to have somebody you can imagine, obviously, when I accidentally started this, it was amazing to see the caliber of people that we were like getting in quite early. And your name obviously counts like there's somebody from England golfing like quite early on. So it would be amiss of me to sort of like ask you like, what's your golf link story so far?
Well, it all started, I think this earlier, it all started from a LinkedIn post. You put a LinkedIn post out, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting. Obviously, there's been times where I've been a part of, you get invited to a golf day or a company runs a golf day, that type of thing. But I thought this has got a different feel to it. So obviously I responded to the LinkedIn post, and then we got in touch. We spoke a few times on the phone. Obviously, at the time, didn't know where I could go, but I was interested. And then obviously you invited me up to Carden Park, and I thought, right, perfect. I'll just go up and see what this is all about. You asked me to speak, which was lovely. Caught a train up, and felt like a super VIP, I guess. When I turned up, I was sat there with a cup of tea and looked outside, and a massive Range Rover, lovely blue Range Rover pulled up, limited edition, only one on the adverts and stuff like this, and had a lovely lift from the train station to the golf club that I've never been to before. And yeah, connecting with the people and seeing the people on the day, and obviously playing the golf was enjoyable, but just being around people of a similar passion for the sport, but obviously completely different backgrounds, completely different industries in terms of where we work and what we do. It was quite refreshing and super enjoyable. So
Yeah, it's great. And I remember we talked early on, and literally, I've just been talking to Craig this morning about this, about trying to elevate the game, grow the game, and we talked about the power of social media.
yeah,
And can you talk like share that story around what you see the responsibility of like the wider? I think remember you saying about you, it's not almost dare I say good enough just to be good at golf anymore.
yeah,
Like the whole society, social sort of like credibility, speaking. What from your
yeah.
perspective? I remember it was a while ago we had that
It was a
conversation,
while ago.
but
Yeah.
yeah, tell us that
Well, I think
story.
I think one of the key things I've noticed, so I think a lot of people have noticed, is unfortunately you can be fantastic at golf, but if you're not good at the other elements, you don't necessarily get the support you deserve. So what I mean by that is you obviously got many influencers and stuff now that come out and are starting the game, and they're getting a lot of traction on social media. They get invited to pro-ams at big events at the Open, and this and that at the BMW. They're getting all these opportunities, and then if you could be really good, you could be in the England setup, you could win events across Europe, but if you haven't got that presence about you, you almost don't get the support you deserve for what your golf is delivering, because you haven't got that, that's not charisma, because people have got that. It's just they haven't got that internet presence or that social media presence. I think that's the way golf has changed now. It's one of those. It's become more accessible. It's become more enjoyable for people. They've seen that other people doing it, which is fantastic. The influencers are doing great jobs of that. And this is why I wanted to come on Golf Links originally, was to share the story of, we've got the influencers, we've also got elite players playing in opens as amateurs, representing, and they're going to be our next pros. They're going to be the next Justin Roses and the people we're cheering on at majors. So why not know about them now? Why wait until they turn pro? And that's why I came along to that day in particular, was to share that story, really.
Yeah, and even you just shared before about like we've got the ability to host them on the podcast. We've got
Yeah,
them the ability to be on Golf Links and share their social medias, to encourage them to share their stories. We are going to loop back round to having sort of like like England team elevated profiles, for example, because
yeah.
they get funded through the game for investment, through sponsorship, all those sort of things. It's creating that loop of positivity, if you like. Um, on the side of the England team, then, could you
Yeah,
give us a bit of an update about the England team? Like, what does 2026 look like?
yeah, definitely. So we had a great 2025, really successful year, especially for the men's team in particular. Like, obviously, I can talk more freely, I guess, about the men's
Yes.
team because I'm involved in it. But yeah, we played 6 events last year, 6 team events last year. We brought home 4 golds and 2 bronze. So we had bronze in the Europeans, bronze in Worlds, which the Team Championships is not a bad medal to bring home. And yes, we had a real good year. And then this year we've had one event so far, Costa Bina, which was back in January, finished fourth there, which, after we won it last year, you'd always hope to go away and and win it again. Slightly different format this year, changed by the weather every day. But this year, in terms of what we've got coming, we've got the men are playing against France this year, and we played against Spain last year. Boys and girls always under 16s always play against Spain every year, which is nice, and they play against Ireland at the end of the year. And then we've got your Nations Cup, which is out in Sotto Grande in April. Then we've got home internationals, we've got Europeans, which we do every single year. There's no Worlds this year because it's every 2 years, but that's how it looks for us this year. It is Sotto Grande or Euro Nations, game against France, Europeans, and home internationals are our key events again this year. But then, obviously, we want success. We want our players to go on and win the European Order of Merit, which has been introduced this year, and also win massive events. We've just had an English player actually. Had an English player just win the Portuguese Am again this year. So Elliot Baker won it last year, and Harley Smith has just won it now last week. So we've got another individual success, I guess, across the board for England, which is fantastic.
Amazing. I've got two follow-up questions then. One is, if I'm listening to this and I'm in the UK and I want to go and watch the England team, where can I go and where would you recommend I go and watch? And then the other one is, like, what does the England team made up of? Is it 4 people, 6 people? What are the age groups?
Yeah, so it varies. So in terms of the men, so Euro Nations is a 4-man team, and a 4-woman team. Sorry, 3-woman team, 3-person woman team, and a 4-man team for the men. So that's out in April, out to Sotto Grande, and then Europeans is a 6-person team for every age group, so boys, girls, women, and men. And then home internationals, it's 6 for the women and 7 for the women and girls, and 9 for the men and boys. So that again, it varies a bit depending on the event. It varies on the size of the team varies. And in terms of the UK, actually, there's not team events wise. There's not many, but we have got some other events outside of England golf, I guess. Okay. So we've got home internationals for boys and girls is up in Scotland this year. Men and women is across in Ireland. But we have got the amateur championship in England this year, which is Royal Liverpool and West Lancs. So that is start of June. So the best amateurs across the world are coming to Royal Liverpool and West Lancs to play, which is amazing. So if you want to go watch individual success and individual talent, definitely go to there. But we've also got the Walker Cup in the UK this year, so it was in Ireland. So that's in Lahinch at the start of September. Again, massive event. Obviously, GB&I versus America, the best there is across the world, you'd have to say, competing against each other. So if anybody did want to go watch, definitely go to some of those events. Then also you've got other trophies like St Andrews Links up in St Andrews. The Livham Trophy is always a good one to go ahead and see. You've got the English Amateur, which is nice to come and support that. So yeah, anybody that needs anything in terms of events, just let me know and I'll point you
I presume
in the right direction.
This is like obviously a plug. I presume everything's published on the England Golf website. I presume. So yeah, that's the best place to go.
Yeah, it's all on there. So there's a fixture list on there as well. Obviously, England Golf, we run our own championships, some great championships as it is. So anything you want to go see, just go have a look on there. Or you can also look on the European Golf Association website or on the RNA website. But yeah, anybody needs anything, just let me know.
Or we can join Golf Links and you're readily available.
100%, yeah. You can literally link up, put the events onto Golf Links, and everyone can see it through the app.
Yeah, we can definitely sort that out. So we reached out to the Golf Links community and we've got 4 questions. We didn't want it to go too long, so short, sharp, and to the point, which we like. So the first one was sort of your personal experience. Like, what have you seen as the challenges and the change in the time that you've been involved in performance golf, really?
Yeah, in terms of performance golf, the thing I've noticed recently is there is no off season. You can go back 5-10 years, or maybe a bit longer than that, I guess. But you go back and people didn't travel as far; they didn't go as far to play events. Whereas now there's an event somewhere in the world at every part of the calendar. So obviously from last week, Portuguese Am, through to now September with the new EGA, European Golf Association Order of Merit. There's events in Europe from last week all the way up until October. And then beforehand, in January, you had stuff like the Jones Cup in America, which is a massive event. You have stuff like the Junior Orange Bowl out in America that people go out and travel to. December you have the Invitational, which used to be called the Miami South Beach Tournament. So there's always tournaments to play now. In terms of performance golf, there's always stuff to play, and always a result for me to keep a track of, really. So yes, it's non-stop, but that's the biggest difference I'd say is definitely there's a lot more travel, which also means it's a lot more costly for these players. It is a lot of money to be an elite amateur in golf, to travel around and support yourself, hotels, and look after yourself for the week. Obviously, you've got to be eating the right foods. You've got to look after your nutrition. You've got to look after your sleep.
Yeah.
You've got to find a gym if there's not one on site to keep yourself mobile. So it is expensive. And I guess that was one angle I came at with the golf links side of things was if we've got business owners, they want to reach out to some of these elite athletes and want to support them in any way. And me as a middleman, not come directly through me or England, but just linking up these elite athletes with business owners to support them, then we can sort it out because it is super costly for these players, unfortunately, these days.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and we're gonna help grow that as much as possible. So there's lots of plates spinning. It's great to have that impact though, to grow the game and to be part of that influential change as well. Who should we look out for in 2026, and who should we be looking out for in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That was another question. I was like, that's a great question. I want to know this answer.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, we've got a squad of 7 in the UK. So the way it works for us, we've got 7 players in the UK, and we've got a squad of 10 in the US on the men's side of things, and also we've got a boys squad of 6 in the UK. So it's lots of players we're supporting, but in terms of this year, obviously we had Elliot Baker have a fantastic year last year. End up playing Walker Cup. He's now 60th in the world. We've got Tyler Weaver, who's now 9th in the world. Luke Poulter, who's maybe 12th or 13th in the world. Them two are based in America, so they're in the college system. Elliot's still based in the UK. Obviously, Harley Smith just won the Portuguese Am. The likes of Tom Osborne, Ben Bolton coming through and winning events and finishing well in these events. And then in terms of the younger players, again, you've got Ben Sessions, who he played in that Junior Orange Bowl I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and actually in his group was Charlie Woods. So Tiger following him for 2 days, for the first 2 days before the cut.
What an experience that was.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. He finished 3rd in the Spanish under-18s back in September. He finished 2nd in the Carish Trophy, which is hosted by England Golf last year and is actually the biggest under-18 event in Europe now. So yeah, he's coming through, and we've got a few others as well. Alex Boyes, Tom Hartshorne, George Whitehead, all part of our squads. Aaron Moody, they're all coming through. So any of these names definitely keep a lookout for. Cam Mukherjee, another one. Again, they're all part of our England squad and our setup.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to speaking to some of them as well. Well, once we've got a few guests on in here, we'll build the momentum and get them that exposure that they deserve as well. I think it's one of those that it's that visibility point, isn't it? I think we talked as well about the media coverage, the visibility of it. It does seem to be suppressed because it's almost like it's only when you're on the world stage and it's if you look at any other England setup, it gets big publicity when you're doing something, and golf seems to be not looked at that much. So we want to be part of elevating that a bit more. So
definitely, I think that's the big thing for those players, and this is what we've said before, and this is what we've actually told them. They've got to understand their business is them. They've got to promote themselves in a certain way on social media. They've got to look after themselves. They've got to make sure that they are, like I said, it is super costly now. So they've got to make sure that they're presentable, that they come across nice. They've got to do a few visits. They've got to get some funding in. They are literally their own business, and they can be great to golf. But if they haven't got all the background side of things, it can be quite limiting in what they can do or where they can go. So
yeah. Fantastic. So 2 more questions. So we'll go with one first. So obviously take into account that Golf Links is representative of the whole of the UK. We've got members. So we actually got members from all over the place. I think my favourite one, we've got somebody in Iceland at the minute, which is quite nice. The US and everything. But obviously a question's coming from the UK specifically regards I think it was called the Forgotten Golfer. So the handicaps between sort of 5 and 15 at club level the handicap system obviously changed, and you've got players and that inclusive thing of having higher handicaps, 40, 50, and that sort of disconnection from sort of entering comps. And it's a world that I'm not used to, so I don't want to sort of, I'm going to put this to you as soon, because I've not, obviously, Craig, my co-founder, he's plays off 3, has been a member of a club, so knows this a little bit more than I do, but obviously I presume you're aware of this. What's your thoughts and comments about that?
I think it's a tricky one. So in terms of this, there's lots of people with different thoughts on the new handicap system and different thoughts on. You hear it all the time. You see on social media, people are quick to, jump by it and say there's somebody off 50 odd winning the competition with 50 odd points, and which you never saw before. I guess everyone's on their journey in golf, isn't it? Like you can't necessarily blame that golfer unless they are doing something crazy to keep the handicap at that level. We're all on a journey at the end of the day, and they will get to a point where they will be dropped in terms of handicap wise, and they'll get to a point where they will start to plateau. So there's lots of remarks around the handicap side of things, but I think in terms of the forgotten golfer, I understand what people are inferring to that in terms of your low handicappers can play in the club championship and play in big events like that. You've got your higher handicappers who will play in your normal monthly medals, Staplefords, and win it. And then your 5 to 15 probably feels like they're in that area of, they can't play in those comps and they feel like they can't win the other ones. So it is a tricky one. Obviously, I sit in that category. Our club championship is match play, and I think it's the best 36 golfers in the club that put their names forward for it get in, and I wouldn't fit into that category. But what I would say is, there's no reason for us not to create other events for those handicaps. There's no reason for us not to have, a roundup or a get together with those people on certain days, or push your club to make events for those. We've got knockout competitions in our club that go club championship, then you've got them 5 to 12 handicaps, then you've got 12 up to 18, and you've got 18 plus, etc. So there are events out there, you can create them, and if there's a big problem in your particular golf club, be the change, be the person to introduce it. It's as simple as that. And
I think from you just saying that and me just sort of thinking as you were talking that, I think that's part of us hopefully having golf links, being like connecting clubs together. It's almost like sharing best practice and bringing the community and link together through the social network for golf. That if you're not seen to be doing something that's having a really positive effect over here, like, well, why wouldn't you be doing that? And I think it's the positive ripple effect that we all talk about. So good, thank you. So last question on your thoughts, and again, this very much puts it into like the next 5 years, but there's been quite a lot of developments in golf, hasn't there? So the question was kind of like, what's your thoughts on the development in golf in the last 5 years? And where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years? There's a lot to dig into there. But just you personally, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think in terms of where it's been the last 5 years, I think it's been a good change for golf. People, the golfers that have been the golfers for an age and a day, you get the odd one that moan about influencers and moan about growing the game or inclusivity, and there's more people in the clubs now, so there's less tee times, and and those are, I guess, the golfers that they would class from day one. Whereas the last 5 years, since COVID, etc., the golf has boomed, and it's only good for everyone. In terms of performance, that's fantastic because it means there's more competition coming through the system. There's more people to play against. There's more tournaments. There's more competitions you can create because there's more people to play with. So that's a great thing. I think the way the golf is going is fantastic. It is more inclusive now, and it is going to help us in the long run. I think where it's going to go in the future is that there are going to be shorter formats, I would say. There are going to be different formats for different people, different age categories, different quality of golfer. You've got iGolf now, which is basically, if you don't have to be a member of a golf club anymore, you join iGolf and you have an official handicap through England Golf, and you can go off and play in open days. You can play, general play rounds, etc., and maintain a handicap. So it's definitely going to get to a point where there's going to be a format for everyone. There's going to be changes, and I guess, going back to that question about the forgotten golfer, like I said, there'll be a format for that 5 to 15 handicapper. But you'll definitely see it more. People can enter 9-hole scores now. You can play 14-hole roundups or diddlies or whatever. You can play 12 holes. It's just going to keep evolving. And at the end of the day, we, the people who play golf, will be the determining factor of that. Things will only change if people ask it to change. It won't just happen because if people want it to change, it'll change. So
exactly.
it depends on what we want.
Yeah, and also at golf links, we see that all the time, connecting a community together.
Yeah.
It's more exciting about the opportunities that there are than the negativity of, oh, I don't like change, or I don't like this. So there's more positives outweigh the negatives, I think,
100%.
from what we hear and see, and we want to be part of that change as well.
Definitely, we're in control of it. We're in control of it. Somebody had to have a thought at one point to introduce the new handicap system, or have a thought about general play scores, or have to have a thought about increasing the handicap. It comes from somewhere, so it's up to us, I guess, to drive. And if you feel like there's a forgotten market, or you're a part of a forgotten market, then let's do something about it.
Fantastic. So we're going to finish the podcast here, but I've just thought about putting you on the spot about something.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of people listening that are, let's say, average golfers. So you come from high performance England golf. Yeah. So if I've got a community of the UK listening to this podcast, they're thinking, wonder what Ben could give me as a little hint and tip for high performance. What would you say to our audience that are not in the England team, but that we almost want to be to a better player? How often do you hear that in golf?
All the time. Well, I think the difference is between, I guess, obviously there's quality differences in aspects of the game, isn't there? They are good putters, and if you actually look at the stats in terms of putting stats against PGA Tour or against our England squad, the average golfer will be so surprised at, I guess, how poor they would call, putts from 6 foot, or the percentage that actually hold from 6 foot. You'll see all the time, the 15 handicap will be like, oh, I can't believe I missed that. If you look at the stats, it's unbelievable. So that's one thing, is the expectation that club golfers have got versus reality is quite, is quite unbelievable. But I'm one of them. I'm exactly the same. But I think the big thing for me is thinking your way around the course. I think a lot of people don't play to their strengths. They play to the holes in terms of how the hole looks. And I always hit driver on this hole, so I should hit driver again. Bearing in mind their best area is hitting from 150 yards. They hit driver, they might only leave themselves 80 yards in. So why would you not just lay back and leave yourself where your scoring zone is at its best at 150 yards? Just leave yourself 150 yards. So I think that's the big thing, is if you want to get better, work out what your super strengths are, maintain your super strengths, support and improve your limitations or your weaknesses, and then play your game, not the game that the person next to you is playing, or the game that you think the course demands of you. Just play your game.
Fantastic. So next time I'm getting loads of stick for laying up, I'm not even allowed to talk in my internal dialogue. I'm saying, don't lay up.
Just don't do it. Yeah. Well, just next time you say, so that Ben told me that my best shot in is from 100 yards, so I'm going to leave myself 100 yards and see what happens.
Not listen to my podcast. I've got evidence now.
Yeah.
No, listen, Ben, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. We can't wait to host you again at one of our Golf Links events. We'll be comparing diaries very soon and sharing when you're going to be joining us. So thank you so much for today.
No, so thanks for having me on. And also, let me just quickly say, thanks for setting up Golf Links. It's been fantastic to come along, be on the WhatsApp group, be on the app itself. And even though I haven't been able to come to many events, obviously I came to the one, it's just nice to see the dialogue and nice to see the people are sharing and offering, to link up and meet up for rounds of golf whenever they can. It is really refreshing to see. So thank you for coming up with the idea, and thank you and Craig for actually developing it and making it something that it is now.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you very much. So if you haven't already, if that's not a good advert for coming and joining us at Golf Links, I don't know what it is. So make sure there's in the link below down here in the comments, we'll just look up Golf Links and you'll find us. It's for free. Come and join us, and we'd love to have you part of the community. Ben, see you soon, and take care, everybody. See you at the next podcast.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. See you soon.